On this episode of RadCast Outdoors, we sit down with the kiddos. David and I bring our kids on the show to talk hunting and fishing and get some insight from them on some of their most memorable trips with their dads. So we hope you'll stick around and enjoy this episode of RadCast Outdoors.
Fish on! Hey, RadCast is on.
Hunting, fishing, and everything in between. This is RadCast Outdoors. Here are David Merrill and Patrick Edwards.
Hey everybody, David Merrill here again. We're back with another episode of RadCast Outdoors. I'm super excited about this one. I'm glad you guys are here. Thanks for joining in, sharing, subscribing, giving us a review. We appreciate it. We really want to keep this going. And I know Patrick, I can speak for him. We eat, breathe, and sleep RadCast Outdoors and want to see this thing grow. So while I've got you here for just a second, go check out PK Lures. They're our new sponsor. I'm really excited to have them on board. It's a great product. Been out fishing using it. We've got a new promo code with them. It's RAD. So when you check out, if you buy a spoon kit. Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you got to get the spoon kit, but you get free Wyoming blades with that order. So definitely go out and do that and support them. They're a great company.
Wyoming company, right?
Well, they were started in Wyoming and now they're North Dakota based, but definitely U.S. company. We want to support them as much as we can. They're employing people here in the U.S., doing a great job, making a great product. So make sure and get out there and support.
What was that promo code?
RAD. R-A-D.
Spoon kit and get some Wyoming blades with it. Perfect.
Yep. And those Wyoming blades do add a lot of attraction to your jigging spoons when you're using them. They help with flash and with sound. So definitely something you should be adding to your jigging spoons. So definitely get out there, pklure.com, and do that.
Well, this week on RadCast Outdoors, we're going to be talking family, kids, fishing, hunting. So come along and join, and we got some cool guests. So
yeah, so our first guest I know pretty well. What's your name?
Faith.
Faith. So Faith is my youngest daughter. She's really ornery, just so you all know. And she's giving me that ornery look right now. But I'll tell you, she is my fisher girl. She loves to go fishing with Dad. And she's also a master angler extraordinaire, David. She's been catching master anglers this year. She's done a lot. She's done really well. And she's one of those kids that'll sit out there and deal with wind and cold and not complain and continue to fish. So Faith, got a question for you. What's your favorite thing about fishing?
Catching all the fish.
Catching all the fish.
Do you have a favorite fish to catch, Faith?
Walleye.
Ooh, that's a good choice. What's your favorite one to eat? You're thinking awfully hard. It's because you like a lot of different fish, huh? What do you think your favorite is, though, all time?
Probably fried walleye.
Fried walleye? Well, that's a good choice.
That makes it easy, right? You go catch them, then you like to eat them. Faith, do you know why I go fishing in Alaska?
Why?
Just for the halibut.
He likes to catch halibut. So I want to ask you, of all your master anglers that you caught this year, what was your favorite?
My 28-incher walleye.
28-inch walleye. I got to tell you this story, because I was kind of in disbelief, but I had good intel on a good walleye bite from shore. So I took little Faith and the rest of her siblings, and we went fishing for these walleye. And it wasn't but like the second cast. And Faith says, "Dad, I got a fish on." And I was like, okay, and I look at her rod and I'm like, "Yep, you sure do." And she's like, "It's a big one." And I was like, I don't know if it's a big one. And it was a big fish, wasn't it? How big was that again?
28 inches.
28-inch walleye. For a little kid, and you probably weighed 20 pounds soaking wet? I'm just kidding. You're not that little. But still, it was a very impressive fish, and there's a lot of grown adults that have never caught a 28-inch walleye.
Your dad took me to that spot about a week or two later, and we didn't catch a fish, Faith.
That's the way it goes. Those fish are in and out. They go in there, and they get out of there. That's just the way it is. So what else did you catch this year that was fun and exciting that you can think of?
Master angler burbot and 4 rainbow trout that were
4 big ones.
master angler.
Yeah, so tell me about the rainbow trout. What did we do?
I went fishing with my dad's friend, Mr. Rick, and I caught 4 master angler trout and 1 little one.
Yep. And we had gone multiple times. What about the time before that with Katie when we went? What did you catch?
I caught a lot of walleye and a small trout, and Katie, she caught a lot of big trout and one tiny walleye.
Yeah, you guys kind of reversed roles. It was funny. We'd hook up to a fish, and Katie would be reeling in trout. And we'd hook up again, and it'd be Faith's turn. She'd reel in a walleye. And it was like, apparently Faith is the walleye kid. I don't know. You're really good at catching those walleye, aren't you?
So, Faith, what's your favorite thing about going fishing with Dad?
Catching all the fish.
She says that, and it kind of makes sense, because a lot of the other kids, they'll fish for a little bit, and then they quit and they run off. And guess who catches all the fish? Faith, which is a good quality, that you're patient and you sit and you hang out and you do it, right? So you do a really good job. What's something that you want to catch that you haven't caught yet?
Northern pike.
Northern pike. Why do you want to catch a northern?
I've never tasted one before.
You never tasted one before, so you want to eat it?
Well, they have some big teeth. They're a predator fish, so they eat all the other fish in the lake.
Do you remember seeing that big northern that Danny caught?
Yeah.
That was a cool fish, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Well, hopefully I can get you out and get you a northern pike this year. We're not going to be able to do it in Fremont County, but we'll go find one somewhere. How's that sound?
Good.
All right. Well, Faith, thank you for coming on RadCast Outdoors.
Yep.
It was good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for being here, Faith.
And I'm pretty excited to we got a pretty cool guest in the studio today, and this guest has been on quite a few of my adventures with me, willingly or unwillingly. Go ahead and who are you?
Hunter Merrill.
Hunter Merrill, and are you my son?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know if I should answer that.
So have you got to go on a couple adventures with Dad?
Yeah.
How about fishing?
Yeah, I've got to go fishing.
So what would you say is one of your favorite adventures you've got to go on?
Probably elk hunting.
Elk hunting, huh? Do you remember the first elk hunting trip you went on?
No.
Well, there's a 5-point shed in your room that you hang your hats on every day, and we found that out elk hunting. You were about 3.5. You fell asleep on the horse. You would ride in my lap, and we rode up and had a couple pretty good days. You've got to go quite a bit since you've... Where were you born?
Alaska.
So does cold weather bug you?
No.
You're tough, aren't you?
Yeah.
You got the one-word answers down, don't you?
So what about your last elk hunt was intriguing?
Yeah. Well, I got spiked by a cactus on the way down.
I bet that hurt, didn't it?
Yeah.
Were you running and sliding in your pants?
Yes.
Because it was fun.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Did we have to be pretty quiet and stalk up there and sneak up there?
Yeah, but at the end, I got to play.
Got to play at the end. So how many elk was there?
About 50 to 75.
Yeah, we were about 200 yards away, 150 yards away.
Yeah.
You got to ride your horse up and back?
Mm-hmm.
So were you hunting cow elk or bull elk?
Bull.
All
Well,
right.
and cow.
So we went up on a late season cow elk hunt. There was some bulls in the herd, but we were cow elk hunting. And we took your horse and one other horse to pack elk out, huh?
Yep.
So what would you tell other kids that might get to go on some adventures like that? Something that they might need to think about or do?
Well, try to watch out for cactuses and catch up.
Stay caught up, huh?
Yeah.
Were you running around playing and getting a little tired of hiking?
Yep.
So we had to go about 1.5 miles from the truck. We spotted those elk from the truck, right?
Yep.
Unloaded the horses, and we were in about 6-8 inches of snow, and Dad just led your horse up the hill, and you got to ride. That seemed a little unfair to me. I had to hike.
Yeah. It was pretty fun.
But afterwards, we got a cow elk and loaded on the horses, and then you got to ride on top of the elk on the way out, right?
Yep.
That was a pretty easy ride,
Yeah.
but you had to hike in the middle.
Yep.
So did you have enough warm clothes?
Yeah.
Is that something that would probably be important, is take enough warm clothes?
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about going hunting with your dad?
Probably shooting elk and eating candy while they got the elk.
His little legs were a little tired of hiking because we'd tied the horses up the last bit of the stock, and it was 500 yards, but there was enough snow, and he was not following Dad's footsteps, just going wherever he wanted. And I could remember while we were breaking elk down, I'd laid my pack on top of the snow, and I looked over, and he's got his jacket wide open. The sun's on him, but he's completely asleep on top of my backpack over there. He'd had a little bit of candy to eat and had a sugar crash there and took a nap right on my backpack, didn't you?
Yep.
So, do you like to go fishing too?
Yeah, ice fishing's the best.
Ice fishing's the best. I think Patrick would agree with you. We need to get out and do that a little more this winter, huh?
Yeah, we do.
So what would you tell other kids that are getting ready to go on an ice fishing trip, things they should bring?
Well, probably an ice tent.
You like the ice hut, right? And a heater.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the downhole camera?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the best part, is watching them on the camera?
Yeah, so you can catch some fish.
I seem to remember a trip where you got to do that with some of my kids. That was kind of fun, huh?
Yeah.
I think we had Mr. Jim Zumbo there with us. That was a fun trip.
Yeah, we did take Zumbo and the kids and go ice fishing. A couple of them were, I think, building snow forts and playing more than fishing.
Yeah. It made for a good picture. That was pretty cool.
But that speaks to checking the expectations at the door and, load the kids up, load the family up, get the gear. And yes, it would be much easier if just you and I had gone, and probably a little more productive, but not nearly as memorable. So do you need snacks when you go ice fishing?
Yeah, definitely.
Any special kind of snacks that...
Nope, just some chips and water, and you'll be fine.
All right. Well, Mr. Hunter Merrill, I'm glad you could come in the studio and give us some advice about what and where and when and why. We look forward to hearing some more about your adventures out hunting and fishing.
Okay.
You think you'll come back on the show for us?
Yeah, I will.
All right.
Sounds
good.
Thanks for being here today, Hunter.
All right. And now we're joined by my second oldest, Katie. Hi, Katie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome to the podcast, Katie.
So you like to go fishing. What's your favorite thing to go fishing for with Dad?
To catch a big fish.
Well, what kind?
Like rainbow trout.
Yeah. So Faith was telling us that on the trip with Mr. Rick, you were catching all the big rainbows and she was catching all the walleyes. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about it. What did you guys do?
Well, we started early in the morning and we went till the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And we used crankbaits and we set up a lot of fishing poles on the sides, and then some went off and we took turns because one went down and then it was Faith's turn, and the other one went down and it was my turn.
Yeah, we were trolling. So we had 2 planer boards on the outside and we had 2 lines right back behind the boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys slayed the fish. You guys made Dad work really hard. I had to clean a bunch of fish, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you catch any master anglers?
Yes.
What'd you catch this year for master anglers?
A walleye and a rainbow trout.
Yeah. How big was your rainbow? Do you remember?
22.
Yeah, it was a big one. It was a big fat one on that trip. How big was your walleye? 24?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie, I like to go fishing almost as much as I like to go hunting. And I'll have to show you some pictures. I've got some pictures of some halibut that are a little bigger than rainbow trout and some salmon.
Mm-hmm.
But my favorite fish of all to catch is rainbow trout.
It's really good. Smoked. That's recipe.
Yeah, so that gets to that question. What do you like to eat as far as fish? What's your favorite? What's your favorite fish to eat?
Yeah, what's your
Probably-
favorite fish?
Probably smoked trout and fried walleye.
Ooh, those are good choices. I would say those are pretty decent. So what's the rule about fishing with Dad? I didn't talk to Faith about this, but what's the rule when you go fishing with Dad?
Yeah, don't tell people about it.
First rule of fishing with Dad is we don't know where we went fishing with Dad.
What's the joke with that? What was the line from the famous movie that I told you?
The first rule of Fight Club is that we don't talk about Fight Club.
So it's the first rule of fishing with Dad is we don't talk about where we fished with Dad. The second rule of fishing with Dad is we don't talk about where we were fishing with Dad. Why do you think that's important, Katie?
Because if you tell people about it, they'll go fishing there and catch all the fish.
Yeah, you give away your spot, you may not get your spot back. That's always a rough deal. Yeah, I do tell my kids that. So if you're judging me, that's fine. Judge away.
That Patrick, that rule transcends fishing. It also, hunting is very important. You take somebody new to your spot, you better know them pretty well.
Yep. And they better have a good zipper for their mouth. So what would you say is the best part of fishing, period? Like what is the most enjoyable experience when you go out?
Catching.
Catching. Why is it, what makes a difference?
Because it feels like it's all worth all that waiting.
Ah, okay.
So you don't like the waiting, but you like the catching.
Yeah, that's how my mom is.
Oh, we're telling stories about Mom now.
I'll let you in on a little secret. I'll go fishing, and I'll even go fishing with your dad, but we got to do catching. I like catching a lot better than just fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Me too. I think all of us are that way. We like to catch stuff.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't talked about perch fishing because I know you enjoy that.
Yeah, that's like, I like to go and, like, we drop it down and then I'd get it up and I set it down and put it back in, reel it up. That was like that once. And then there was the perch was on one side of the boat and then the people on the other side were not catching anything. On the other side they were.
It's crazy how perch can be schooled up on one side and not on the other. We'll pull up on a spot, kids will drop down, pull up a fish every time, and if you're fishing on the other side, you don't get anything.
Well, I believe that for some species, but my mind goes to sockeye salmon in the Kenai River specifically. People think you've got to have this specific spot on the bank. Now, if there's some structure or something in the water, right, there's definitely better bends in the river that are better, but if the fish are in the river from Kenai to Ski Lake, you could catch one 30-40 river miles. If the fish are there, you can catch one, and it doesn't really matter the lure, it doesn't really matter, but it's technique is important. The right equipment is important.
Yep.
But having a little bit of knowledge and skill helps.
Yep.
One time we were fishing down and then
At the river.
I gave my pole to Faith because I wanted to take a little break because I had been fishing. And then as soon as I handed it to her, it got a fish on it.
So you'd been waiting, and you're like, here, you can wait with my pole. You were going to go play, weren't you?
Yeah, for a little, and then Faith caught a fish right after I handed it to her.
That's the way it goes, kid. That's where faith builds up, or not faith. That's where fishing builds up patience, and patience is a good thing to have. So, but I'm really glad you go fishing with me, and hopefully we'll be doing a lot more of it this year, and you can catch some more master anglers. How's that sound?
Good.
All right. Well, thank you, Katie.
You're welcome.
All right, and now it's time for my oldest daughter, Leah. Hi, Leah.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome to the podcast. Today we're talking about fishing with Dad.
Okay.
So you're going to tell stories about me?
Maybe.
You would have the most out of everybody because you've gone the most with me, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Leah's 11 now, and we've been out fishing together since she was 2. First time I took her was ice fishing on North Crow Reservoir outside Cheyenne, and she hooked a nice rainbow trout and dropped her little Mickey Mouse rod, and guess where it went?
Down the hole.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, my mittens were too slippery, and it went bloop, down the hole.
I almost snagged it. I dove across the ice, and I missed it by about an inch. That was such a bummer. But it happens. It happens. Leah, what's your favorite fish to go fishing for?
I like fishing for perch because you just catch them over and over and over again. But then I also like fishing for walleye because they're so big and it's fun to reel them in.
That's true. Yeah.
So we did a lot of trolling on Flaming Gorge when I was a young kid. And we set up a little bit like your dad does in his boat. My grandparents had a boat. And Grandpa had a trolling motor that, you had to hold your hand on. And he would sit up on the back of the boat, and he tucked his rod between the boat and his thigh, right? And would just kind of sit on his rod that he was trolling with. And we sometimes had 6 rods out of the back of that boat with all the grandkids trolling. And we're using pop gear on Flaming Gorge, catching rainbows. Well, he did something to lean over and grab a sandwich or something, and his rod fell in the water. So he turned, and he could see it, right? So he decided to go after it. Well, he had his glasses and his keys and his wallet.
Ooh.
And then we've got, some grandkids and aunts and grandma there, and nobody really knows how to drive the boat but Grandpa. We got it figured out, but we had to reel all the gear in, and so fishing can be exciting.
Yeah, that would be. You did some master angler work this summer as well. You caught a number of different species, so tell everybody what master anglers you caught this year fishing with Dad.
I caught a rainbow trout trolling on a boat with you and one of our friends from church.
Mm-hmm.
And then I caught a crappie that same trip, and
How big was the crappie?
13 inches, and the trout was about 23 inches. And then I caught a 26-inch walleye.
Yep.
And yeah,
Those are your master anglers. So you got 3, just like Faith, right? 2 are tied. Of course, Faith has a burbot, 28-inch burbot, but you guys are tied on master anglers, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who do you think's going to win between you and Faith this year?
Faith.
Why?
Because she's more patient.
Ah. She is patient. She will sit there and fish, won't she?
Mm-hmm.
So, a quick story about Leah when she was, well, I guess it was right when we moved up here. She was about 6 years old. I took her down to one of my spots, which we shall not name. And we were fishing together, and I got this really cool picture. It was neat. She was out on a point, and the sun was coming up, and just really cool to have her silhouette there, you know, with the sunrise. And she caught on her own her first 2 walleye. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. You caught that humongous bass.
Yeah, that 20, it was like 20.5-inch bass with a 20+ inch girth. Yeah, that was a lot of fun that day, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Leah's my little fishing buddy. She's been fishing with me since I was, since she was basically 2 years old, and she's caught a lot of different things. So what is something that you want to catch that you haven't caught yet?
I want to catch a northern pike or a tiger muskie because they're really big, and I've never caught one of those. And I also want to catch a burbot because they look like a snake.
They do look like a snake, huh, David?
They do. What's your favorite fish to eat?
I like walleye. I like fried walleye. It's really good.
What's your second favorite?
Burbot dipped in melted butter.
I think that's my favorite.
The burbot.
That's really good. It's super tasty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there is a recipe that I'll have to put on our website, but basically if you get a 2 liter of 7-Up, put it into a pan, bring it to a boil, throw your burbot in there, cook it till it's done in there, and then take it out. It's really good. So is salted water. It doesn't matter. Either one. If you boil it in either one of those things, it's really good, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We had that the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
You ate quite a bit.
Yep.
What are some rules about fishing with Dad?
You don't tell other people where you fished if you catch a really big one.
Okay. What else?
Um,
I'm just asking you questions to see what you say. I'm curious.
I don't know. The main one is we don't tell people where we've caught fish if we catch really big ones.
Yeah. So if you're one of my friends out there and you're going to ask me a bunch of questions about where we're catching fish, or ask my kids, they have been coached. Just to be forewarned. What else do you have to say about fishing? Anything?
I really like it. My favorite kind of fishing is on the boat.
Do you like trolling better or fishing like we do, jigging for perch? What's your favorite?
I like trolling better.
Do you? Why?
Because we can just see we don't have to actually hold the rods. You can just see when they bite. But when you're fishing for perch, you have to wait and feel for them, and that takes a little bit more patience.
Yep, it's true. I will say though, you did catch your crappie on your own casting, so that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a big crappie, and you caught 2 nice crappie that day, I think.
Yeah, I did.
I think the most important part about trolling, especially when you're fishing in the summer on the lake, is snacks. You got to have lots of good snacks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a good story about that. So tell him what happened when you were eating jerky when we were trolling.
So every time I would grab a piece of jerky to take a bite, a fish would bite. So it's like...
You had to put your jerky down and
Seriously?
you couldn't finish it?
Mm-hmm.
I have video of it, so we'll put it out there. But it was pretty funny. She'd be like, "I just put jerky in my mouth," or she'd just be grabbing a piece of jerky, and I'd be like, "Oh, you got one on the rod."
Like, what?
But you had a lot of fun fishing with Mr. Rick, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun. So Rick, if you're out there listening, made my kids very happy taking them out on the boat. It's a lot of fun. So anything else you want to share with us?
No. I think that's it.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, kiddo.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least, I have Mr. Benjamin, my youngest, my little boy here on the podcast. Benjamin, how are you?
Good.
Are you excited to be on a podcast?
Yeah.
Are you a little nervous?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. It's just having a conversation.
We're all a little nervous, but we're just chatting.
Yeah, so it's all good, huh? What we're talking about is fishing. And you go fishing with Dad, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite fishing trip with Dad?
It's hard to decide. I had a lot of fun.
You've had a lot of them, huh?
Yeah.
Well, my favorite with you is catching crawfish. You remember when we did that this summer?
Yeah.
Yeah? Why don't you tell everybody about it? What did we do?
We had 3 crawfish traps, and then we had a fishing pole so we could catch them on the line.
Yep. So we did some line, put some bait on the end of the fishing pole and dropped it behind the rocks. I think that was your favorite part, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were having fun pulling those big old crawfish out from under the rocks, weren't you?
Yeah.
I would say anybody that has a little boy, because trust me, my little boy is different than my girls. If you have a little boy, that is like the best thing to have them do is catch crawfish because it's something that will keep them entertained and the crawfish will oblige and actually come up and grab whatever you're dropping down. So do you remember what we used for bait?
Yeah.
What did we use?
We use like other parts of fish.
It was sucker meat, remember?
Yeah.
So we had a chunk of sucker meat tied to what? Fishing pole?
And then we dropped the fishing pole down to the water into rocks. And
Drop the line in behind the rocks,
and
yep.
then we felt a little tug. It was a crawfish.
Yep. And you did a good job. We caught a lot of big ones, didn't we?
Yeah.
Then what did we do with them?
We put them in the cooler and then got them home.
Yep. What did we do with them at home, though?
Skinned them and ate them.
And we cooked them. And then we skinned them and ate them.
Yeah.
They have an exoskeleton, and they're one of my favorite freshwater critters to eat by far.
They're really yummy, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just got to catch, 2 doesn't do it. 20 doesn't do it. You need about 200, and then we can have a meal.
We'll have to do that this summer. It'll be fun. Fishing from the boat or fishing from shore? What's your favorite?
Sure.
Shore?
Or I like both.
You just like to go, don't
Do
you?
you like it when the water's solid, like right now? Or ice fishing?
Yeah, I like ice fishing and going fishing, just regular fishing.
Yeah. You like fishing at Bass Lake?
Yeah.
I like he said that, normal fishing is when the water's liquid, not solid. Just for everybody out there, I'm
That's
sorry if you're a
normal.
big ice fisherman. I like to be in my T-shirt when I'm catching fish.
Me too. Ice fishing's fun and it has its place, but open water's a lot of fun. Huh, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite what's your biggest fish you've ever caught?
It's when me, Dad, and my sisters went fishing, and I caught how long inch was it, Daddy?
It was a 24.5-inch walleye, wasn't it?
Yep.
And it was a master angler, your first one ever, huh?
Yep.
Were you excited? Yeah, you thought that was pretty cool, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope you'll go fishing with me a lot this summer when it warms up here. We did some ice fishing, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, and that was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. I like regular water, like the liquid form. That's a lot more fun. What's your favorite fish to eat?
Probably like walleye and trout
Walleye and trout?
and rainbow trout.
This kid also likes pickled sucker. I think it's okay. Like, it's not my favorite, but Benjamin likes it, don't you? You like fish, though.
Really like.
Well, we'll definitely make more of that this year, too, because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's good to take you out fishing, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that about wraps it up.
Thanks for coming on the podcast, Ben.
Thanks, buddy. We'll catch you again later, okay? All right. Thanks, bud. All right, it is time for the High Mountain Recipe of the Week, brought to you proudly by High Mountain Seasonings, a Riverton, Wyoming company. High Mountain Seasonings has been around for 30 years and is doing a great job of making sure that all the hunters and people who are processing their own meat have everything they need to do the job right. High Mountain Seasonings offers a lot of different options for you. They offer fish brines, jerky kits, sausage making kits, and much, much more. You can find all of their great products at highmountainjerky.com or HIMTNjerky.com. Again, HIMTNjerky.com. So now, here is our recipe of the week. You just heard the kids talk about some of their favorite things that they like to eat. We're going to focus in on the burbot. So burbot is something that is very simple to cook. It is really delicious. If you've never eaten burbot, you're missing out, that's for sure. So one of the ways that we like to process and have our burbot is to get like a 2 liter of 7-Up or Sprite. You pour it into a pot, you bring it to a boil, you take your chunks of burbot and you dump them into the water and you cook them for about 3 to 5 minutes on the rolling boil just to make sure that they're all the way cooked. Then you can take them out and you can dip them in butter. And we also like to take the High Mountain gourmet fish seasoning and sprinkle just a little bit on there to give it a little bit extra flavor. They don't call it poor man's lobster for nothing. It's absolutely delicious. So if you haven't tried burbot yet, get out there, go fishing for them and try them out. And I will tell you, PK Lures makes one of the best lures to catch those things. The Red Dot Glow PK spoon is absolutely dynamite to catch burbot. I hope you guys will go out there and try it out. Again, go to High Mountain Seasonings website, HIMTNjerky.com, beefjerky.com to pick up your gourmet fish seasoning today.